So I wanted to talk about how do you get leads from podcast interviews? I know a couple of you've been getting booked on podcasts and you're not really seeing the leads come through. And so wanted to come through really quickly and address it. And actually I came up with like three things that you need to do in order to generate leads from podcast interviews. But then I was making myself some notes. I came up with like five and then I came up with six. And so not to get overwhelming, there are some core fundamentals if we're going to be leveraging any type of marketing, whether it's a podcast interview, social media, one-on-one networking, DMs, like whatever we're using to generate leads, we need to have some of the fundamentals set up in place. And so the very first thing, right? There's a lot of ways that we can go out and generate interest and excitement for our products, right? Paid opportunities, paid advertising, one-on-one networking, social media, like going and getting in front of your target audience. And so that's the first thing. The very first thing when we think about how do I generate more leads, using podcast interviews is number one, making sure that you're talking to the right audience, right? That you're booking shows that are talking to your ideal audience. So when you're looking at who their target audience is, what type of topics they covered, who are their desired guests, is it a great fit? Is that where your audience is that the topic your audience would be listening to? So we just want to make sure that we're reaching out and connecting with shows that who are a good fit. And the very first person we connect with on all of these is the host of that show. Imagine you were getting booked on a new podcast every single week. Right? Over the course of the year, that would be 50 new hosts that you are connecting with who are also talking to your target audience. So that's who we want to build the relationship up with first, is that host. They have probably a social media following. They probably also have an email list, as well as the marketing that they're doing for the show and their audience. So you really have like four ways to leverage connecting with that host and building that relationship. The audience is one of them, right? But who are their, direct contacts and connections? Who's in their email list? Who's following them on social media? And what marketing are they doing to promote their show? All of that is an incredible opportunity to get in front of your target audience. And truly, we want to create consistency. It takes a minute to build up as you record these shows, as these shows are released and people are listening and then them taking action. So number one, we really want to make sure that we know who our audience is, who's going to be interested in our freebie, right? Our lead magnet, our program, our offers. We want to make sure that we're booking on the right shows. And this goes for every platform, right? Making sure that we're talking to the right audiences. If we're going to live events, if we're speaking at live events, that our target audience is our target client is in the audience. Number one, right? Booking in front of, making sure you're booking on the right shows. Number two, during that interview, right, we want to create excitement. We want to create intrigue, a little bit of interest. We have to be interesting, right? So we want to make sure that we come enthusiastic, passionate, excited about what we're doing, who we're helping, how we got here. The number one way to connect deeply with an audience is through audio, which is why podcasting is such a powerful way to connect with your target audience. It also eliminates the noise, right? We're not competing against all the other social media posts that they're looking at. We're not on a stage competing against all the other speakers. You are the only guest being interviewed at that moment. You are the only one they are listening to. Audio, people have the most time in their day to listen to something than they do anything else, to watch, to read, to sit and, to do an activity. They can take the podcast with them on the go. So it's how we can connect the most deeply with our audience. But truly, we have to create that interest, that excitement, that intrigue, that enthusiasm by first being excited. Now, think about this. Right? Like if we're this excited, the audience is probably going to only come to here, right? Like they're just still kind of learning about you. But if we come in and here's my thing, and here's what you can do, and here's why this is important, right? And I'm not all that passionate and I'm not all that enthusiastic, right? You can tell like my energy is lower. drink some coffee, do some jumping jacks, right? Smile. People can hear a smile. Make sure you are smiling when you are talking, right? Take a breath once in a while, but create the energy, the intrigue, the excitement. That's on us. Right? I remember speaking at lots of different events, and and at the end of it, speakers who didn't convert well, being very disappointed in the audience. And yet I'd watch that same audience go and listen to another speaker and totally have a reaction and a response and engage. And so it is up to us as the speaker, as the guest, to create the enthusiasm, to encourage the audience to take action. It's not up to the host. It's up to the speaker, right? It's up to the guest. It's our job to create that excitement, to encourage the audience to take action. Right. The other thing, when you think about you on stage, right, and you as a podcast guest, stories are sticky. We can go online and look up information and data and how to and all of that, right, anywhere. But really, when it comes to creating interest, excitement, enthusiasm, right, it's in our stories. It's how we connect deeply with an audience. The other thing, right, we want to make sure that we're sharing ideas of social proof, right? Things that we've done, proof that this is working. And one of my favorites is really having what I call the bold promise. Like, what's in it for the audience? Like, what are they going to get? Why does it matter, right? Why you, why now, and why is this important? I love the W's. Why you, why now, and why is this important? Establish yourself as the expert. Establish why now they need to take action and create a sense of urgency. And really, why is this important? The bold promise. You will get booked on 50 podcasts, right? If you connect with me, you will connect directly with podcast hosts when you join our network, right? Our free community. When you take action, this is the bold promise. So having something that the audience can kind of latch onto. So number one is getting booked on great shows, right? That are perfect fit. Number two is creating that excitement, that intrigue. Number three, and this is critical, is your call to action. How are you building your list? Are you sending the audience to a place where they are going to opt in to connect with you, opt in to get onto your email list? Are they giving you their email address? Are you building your list? Or are you sending them, follow me on a social site, go buy my book on that book platform, right? On that retail platform. Go here, go there, check out my website where you can learn and read all about me. Nay, nay. Our job as a podcast guest, if we are using podcast interviews to generate leads to grow our email list, we have to send the audience to one opt-in place where they opt in, something for you, something for me, right? You get a freebie, I get your email address. I have a couple more things, but I'm going to pause that for right here, and I'm going to do a part two on this. So hopefully that's helpful so far.